Happy Tuesday, everyone. We got a fun little chipper style worksite coming at you. A little mini layered sandwich again. It's gonna be a good time, but slightly different than our previous sandwich last week. So before we get to that, let's talk about our warm-up. Warm-up is gonna be pretty straightforward. Plankton Down Dog for 3 to 5, quad plank toe touch for 20 seconds, Goblet Squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, foot assist pistol for 3 to 5 a side, and a Kang Squat for 5 reps. So we're looking at 2 rounds of that, getting ourselves kind of fired up. Then we're going to move into some skill work. We're going to get our body ready to go. Dumbbell pause front squat for 3 to 5 a side at a 3-second pause at the bottom. Then you're going to move into our dumbbell tempo thruster, 1 to 3 reps with a 3-second eccentric. So that squat is going to be a little bit on the more controlled side, and then drive out of the bottom into that good overhead press. After that, you're going to work on a series of movements to kind of build the intensity as you go. You're going to do calf raise, ankle pop, skip, 20 seconds each. Or you are going to do calf raise, ankle pop, and a different variation of the skip. So in, out, hop, dumbbell lateral jump over. But our goal is to kind of build that intensity as we kind of go through that sequence. So nice kind of movement to get our calves and ankles ready, a little bit more impact, and a little bit more skill work with that impact. So 20 seconds of each, building that neurological component a little bit more so. 2 rounds of that, and then we're gonna move into a little practice round for you guys to have a practice chunk at this, just to finalize anything you need to get done here, and then rock it. So we're gonna hit a nice good chunk of work here. We have a dumbbell thruster of 50 reps. Bigger number, all right, bigger numbers, so be prepared for that. You're probably gonna have to break that down a bit, and that's okay. Then you're gonna move into 150 double unders, or a double under variation. Air squat of 50, and then you're going to move into another 150 double unders or double under variation, same as you used in previous in that piece. So we have a little bit of squatting and pressing, some jumping, a little bit of squatting, and then some more jumping. So it's going to be a good sandwich, a good chance to kind of play around. Those legs are going to get a little fatigued, but let's get you warmed up, let's get you ready for action. All right, guys, let's get you warmed up. Let's get our feet under the hips. Just slowly start to wake things up. A big old stretch. Little reach to one side, little side bend, then a little side bend. We'll come back up. We're going to scratch our back and reach through the elbow. We'll come back up, big stretch. Scratch your back. We'll reach. Big stretch up overhead. We're going to forward fold, touching those toes. We'll walk with those shins, nice flat back. We'll come down and frame the foot, stepping back into our lizard, nice and square in those hips. We take the inside hand up and then bend at the 90. We're going to reach straight ahead and then pull back. And then straight ahead and pull back and straight ahead and pull back. Big reach up, rotate, forearm to the floor, come back up nice and tall and bring that hand down. We'll step back into our down dog. Gripping the floor, setting those shoulders nice and stable so you can walk those heels in. So let's just walk the heels. Again, taking your time. We did a little bit of jumping, a little bit of hopping yesterday with those high knees. So let's just wake up those ankles and those feet a little bit. And then come back into our plank. We'll step the other foot up. Squaring up those hips. We'll inhale up with that inside hand. Bending at the elbow, big reach. Pull back, big reach, pull back, big reach, pull back, big reach up to the sky, rotate, forearm to the floor, we'll come back up, overhead, plant the hand, step her back, into that down dog, reaching those hips, and just walking those heels again, nice and gentle. Just priming up the calves a bit, priming up those shoulders, making sure things feel pretty good. We'll come back into our plank, actively pressing through those arms. We'll tiptoe up, and then roll ourselves big and tall up overhead. Big stretch. Big stretch. Good, come down with those arms. Whew. Let's get you guys fired up. Let's get you ready to go. So, pause the video. If you have any extra little warm-up stuff you'd like to take care of for yourself, please do so. And then come back and join me. We're going to start warming up that body. Okay, we're going to start our day off with our little Plankton Down Dog. So I'm going to turn profile so you guys can see a little bit better in terms of my hips. But my hands come just outside the shoulders, but under the shoulders. I'm gripping the floor and pressing through the shoulders. I'm gonna pull the ribs in, and I'm gonna set that shoulder position before I pull back with those hips. So I'm maintaining that nice, strong overhead position. So my shoulders are pointing down towards my toes or my quads. Nice, solid engagement through that upper back as I come back into that plank. Trying to pull those ribs in, pressing those shoulders up the entire time. So again, if you have a hard time maintaining this, just take it to where you can feel those shoulders say hello. And then as we come through, hit your plank and reset the shoulder position before you move into the next rep. So really important that we're focusing on maintaining this strong, active overhead position with the lat kicked on, the armpit pointing towards the toes or the quads, and just that nice solid position as we move through that range of motion. So again, if you have issues with maintaining that as we come back into the plank, reset the shoulder position before we flow back into the next down dog, just so we can recreate that position so we have a neck throughout the entire flow and the entire rep scheme. Right after that, we're going to move into another cool little movement from the quad plank. So it's a quad plank toe touch. And you can choose to either just hold the quad plank or add in this toe touch. So first things first, they both start the same way. I grip the floor, curl the toes under, my hands are under my shoulders, knees are under my hips. I'm going to pull everything into the center line, push into those knees, and then from here, I'm going to flow straight back, touching one hand to the opposite foot, then come back into my table. I flow back, and then come back in. I'm just going to sit back towards my heels and touch that inside portion of my foot. So I can choose to do that toe touch or just hold that quad plank, depending on what's more comfortable for you or what gives you the best position. Remembering that in between each toe touch or foot touch, we're trying to push through our shoulders the entire time as we come back into that quad plank in between reps. So make sure we're not rushing in between those reps and hitting that good quad plank in between. From there, we're going to move into a goblet squat or an air squat. So you're going to grab yourself a dumbbell, we're going to get that dumbbell set up nice and solid. So with the goblet squat, if you'd like to do the first round without any load, you can. But we have our dumbbell here up under the chin, holding in that goblet position. So we're going to use that dumbbell to help our posture. So we're going to press into that dumbbell a little bit to keep that upper body engaged a little bit more. My feet are set up in that normal regular squat stance. So hip to shoulder width depending on the person. Toes are slightly turned out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my ribs and hips. I'm going to draw the hips towards my heels, keeping those knees tracking the toes, and I'm pushing into that dumbbell to keep that body nice and upright. So we're really trying to listen to our posture and our body position in these goblet squats. So we can use this external load to help our posture, especially if you're someone who tends to tip forward in your squat. This will really help keep you upright as we use this counterbalance to kind of work on opening up that squat depth and range of motion. If you'd like I say, to do the first round without a load, that's fine. Take your time, move smoothly into that nice air squat at that nice 3-1-3 tempo. So really taking the time to work on good quality squat mechanics. Our next movement is going to continue with the squat. We're going to work on a single leg squat. We're going to work on our foot assist pistol. So I'm going to get my feet underneath of my hips, and then I'm going to take one toe back into that kickstand position. I'm going to focus my weight primarily on that balancing foot that's flat. My weight's going to stay through my midfoot, but my big toe is going to stay down. I'm going to stand nice and tall and square to the front, but I'm going to take my hips down to my heel like I just did in my goblet squat. Majority of my weight is through this foot, and I push through this working leg. This leg here is there to help get you out of the bottom, and it's also there to help you balance a little bit if you need that extra little kickstand balance position. But the majority of the work needs to be done with that flat foot and that primary mover. So we have different variations of this pistol. First variation, kickstand, nice and square. We take it down, good weight through that balancing leg, and stand. The next variation, if that's getting easier and you're hitting good range, is loading that position. So we keep the toe down, same position, set, everything's the same except we're loading it in that goblet squat position, which is going to make that leg work a little bit harder with that external load. We also have a variation where we can lose the kickstand leg. So we get ourselves set up with the kickstand, we're good in balance, and we take the top of that foot, plant it on the back of the heel, so we still get the assistance factor with this leg for the engagement and the square hip factor, but we don't get the balance factor. The balance has to come through this individual leg doing the work. So it does ramp it up quite a bit. Our last variation is that same thing, but with a goblet squat. So we have 4 different levels of that kind of pistol, that foot assist pistol, all building on challenge and intensity. Again, working with a good supported position with the kickstand, adding some load, taking away that supporting leg for the kickstand, and then adding some more load after that. Remember that these progressive states of this pistol may not progress quickly. We have to think about building that comfort, that capacity in that knee and ankle and the hip, working on making sure we're taking our time to build that capacity slowly and steadily before jumping to that end range. So you may stay in these different progressions a couple months at a time, maybe a year, who knows, all right? Maybe it's even just a week or two, depending on what level you're at and what position you're at. But we want to make sure that we're maintaining good position and listening to our body before we jump to the next one. Now, once we've done our 3 to 5 pistols per side, we're going to jump into our Kang Squat. And our Kang Squat is going to bring that squat all together and just open up those hips a little bit more. So I'm standing in my regular squat stance. I'm going to draw my hips back in my good morning. So I'm going to feel my hamstrings kick on. From there, I'm going to pull my hips to my heels, lifting my chest up, getting into the nice deep squat that we have, and then we're going to push into our good morning again, keeping that back straight, knees soft, and then we're going to stand tall. So we're going to feel the hamstrings kick on. We're going to pull into that squat, working on our posture, probably feeling that in the hips and the legs. Then we're going to load those hamstrings again, keeping that back flat, pushing into those hamstrings, and then standing tall. So this is not a fast squat. We're taking this in little stages on each end. So I'd prefer you to hold these positions for a couple seconds in the good morning, the squat, back in the good morning, and stand. So try not to go too quickly in these. This is a great opener for the hips, knees, and ankles. Take the time, build that kind of comfort. If you do have tighter ankles and hips, this is going to be a little uncomfortable as we push into that squat, but it's really going to help open up those hips and lower bodies. As a quick recap, we have a Plankton Down Dog for 3 to 5, quad plank toe touch for 20 seconds, goblet squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, or an air squat for the first round. Foot assist pistol, one of those 4 variations I showed you, 3 to 5 reps per side, and then a Kang squat for 5 reps. 2 rounds of that, take that down, get those legs, get that core ready for action, because it's going to be put to the test later on. So pause the video, take that down. We're going to work through some skills with the dumbbell and get you guys ready for some thrusters. All right, so we've gotten our legs ready to go. We're getting our body fired up. Let's talk about our thruster. But before we do, we're going to start warming up that front squat. We're going to do a few pause front squats, 3 to 5 per side. So we're going to clean our dumbbell or 2 dumbbells up, depending on what we have access to. We're going to get that dumbbell in this front rack. So the back of the dumbbell is resting on the shoulder, the elbows out on that kind of open position, but pressing into the dumbbell just slightly. I'm going to work my normal squat stance. So again, hip to shoulder, nice and tall. And we're going to take the squat down nice and smooth. And we're going to hold in the bottom, staying active for 3 seconds. Maintaining that position, we're going to push through those legs and stand tall. Our goal here with the pause squat is to stay engaged all the way through the squat. So we take it down, we're engaged, we're actively holding in the bottom of the squat, and then as we stand up, shoulders and hips rise together as we move through that range of It's very important that in that pause squat, we don't disengage and or we don't shoot the hips up first in our stand-up of that pause squat. So we really need to stay focused on that engagement and that posture throughout the squat. Once we're done 3 to 5 per side, we are going to move through a tempo thruster. So we're going to do 1 to 3 per side, or 1 to 3 reps. And the tempo thruster is going to be a tempo on the squat side of things. So I'm in that nice smooth front rack position, as if I was just about to do another front squat, because I am technically in the thruster. But I'm going to take the squat down 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to stand tall and press that dumbbell overhead. That overhead position is going to put this arm locked out overhead. My arm is just behind the ear, or even with the ear, depending on your range of motion. And then we're going to come back down and squat. 3, 2, 1. Stand drive, and then come back into that squat. So we're going to take our time with the eccentric portion of that squat, so we can really set ourselves up for success as we drive out of the bottom into that overhead position. So that's the whole purpose of that tempo thruster, is to work that front squat just a little bit more, a little smoother, so we can set ourselves up for a good drive out of the bottom of the squat. Now our last little sequence is a sequence of movement that's going to help build intensity and neurological component to our skip or our jump. So what we're going to start off with is either a weighted or unweighted calf raise. So our toes are going to be pointing straight ahead. And you can take this down slow, fast, whatever you want to do, but we're trying to stay balanced between the big toe and the pinky toe. So we're going to push into our toes, lower down. Trying to stay balanced, trying to stay tight through the midsection, and we're just waking up our feet, our calves, and our ankles as we work through this calf raise. Thinking about, again, balance between the big toe and the pinky toe, so we're not rolling out to the outside of the foot. Now, once we're done 20 seconds of calf raises, we're going to go right into our ankle pop or our ankle pump. So again, that is either pumping those ankles like we're skipping without leaving the ground. So it's a little bit more of an explosive calf raise, but we're not leaving the ground. We're still tight through the core and tight through the glutes, but we're allowing our knees and our ankles and feet to kind of give and be a little bit more elastic. Now, if we're going to rock the ankle pop, we do the exact same thing, except we actually leave the ground. So we're maintaining postural control through the core and the glutes, and we get a little bit of impact on those feet as we allow ourselves to move. Now, a really cool drill, if you notice that your knees collapse inwards when you skip, if you have a yoga block or something that's relatively small that you can tuck in between your thighs, you can kind of squeeze that in there and work on that nice smooth flow with the ankle pop, but building the strength to maintain those knees staying out opposed to letting them collapse inwards. So that's a cool little drill to play with during that ankle pop drill, just to make sure we're building some stability there in those knees. Last but not least, after we've done the pump or the pop, you'll grab your skipping rope and then you'll skip. Or you're going to work on one of two things. You're going to work on an in-out hop, all right, or in-out steps, or you can work on using that dumbbell and working on a 2-foot jump over, skip over, or step over. So we're just adding another piece into that puzzle to make it a little bit more coordination kind of focus and get that neurological body piece focused in as well. So we have a pretty straightforward beginning, nice calf raise for 20 seconds, ankle pop or pump, get a little bit more explosive in there, and then we're going to add in that neurological piece of either the skipping rope, the in-out hop piece, or actually getting yourself up and over a dumbbell. So lots of options there. It's going to work those feet, get those calves ready for what's to come, but it's also going to allow you to kind of build up some skill if that's what we're looking. As a quick recap, we have a dumbbell pause front squat for 3 to 5 a side, or 3 to 5 reps at a 3-second hold at the bottom. Dumbbell tempo thruster, 1 to 3 per side, or 1 to 3 reps with 2 dumbbells at a 3-second eccentric. And then you're going to work 20 seconds each, calf raise, ankle pop or pump, and then skip or a variation of skipping or hopping that we have in the workout description. 2 rounds of that, take that down, get yourself primed and ready, we're going to talk about our workout and what's to come. All right, we've made it to the workout. Here we go. We've practiced most of these movements already, but I'm going to show you the thruster at speed. So our dumbbell thruster kicks off the workout, and depending on if you're using 2 dumbbells or 1, will depend on how you take this down. 2 dumbbells, obviously you'll just take down 50 reps straight up. If you're doing a single dumbbell, you can choose to alternate every 5 to 10 reps, or you can do half reps and half reps. It's up to you. But we've been working on a few different ways to do the thruster today in our warm-up with that tempo. We've done pause thrusters in the past, but what we're looking at for our thruster today is a natural kind of squat stance, hip to shoulder. We get that good, strong front squat. We stand drive, and then as we bring that dumbbell down to the shoulder, we absorb and press into the next rep. The main thing that we're focusing on is using the legs and the hips to get the dumbbell moving for the majority of that flow. So we want those legs and hips doing the work. We're not doing a standing shoulder press. We're using that speed we're building from the squat to save the arm to do the work. So we have that option, again, 2 dumbbells, single dumbbell, alternate every 5 to 10 or half and half. From there we have our double under for 150 reps, which I will have a bunch of workout description options down there for you, and options for the double under, so check those out, make it yours. Then we finish off the work set with an air squat, followed up with some more double unders. So the air squat, no load, just a nice, normal squat. Hip to shoulder with stance, drawing the hips to the heels, tall. Working on that good squat we've built through that thruster, through our warm-up, just as a nice body weight squat, no load, no nothing. The hard part about this though, those legs are going to be a little bit more fatigued. We really have to dial in that squat technique, and just because we're not using load doesn't mean we can't focus on those pieces. So we really need to focus on our depth, good quality posture, and keeping those feet flat with the weight through the midfoot. So zero yourself in on that squat. Thinking about a few key points of movement will help take your mind off of how burning your legs feel. So focus in on some key cues, some key points of performance, and that'll help keep you on the task at hand. After that, we finish up with the same double under option we chose earlier in the workout, and then you're done. So one time through, 50 dumbbell thrusters, 150 double under or option, 50 air squats, and 150 double unders or that option you chose, done. It's gonna be a nice little chipper sandwich style, a layered sandwich even. So it's looking like a good time today. So as always, you guys, let me know how this one goes. I'm always interested in what you chose for cardio piece. You place the double under. If you did double unders, awesome. If not, what did you do? Let me know how you took down your thrusters. I love to hear these things. It keeps me kind of in your zone. It keeps me knowing what's going on with these workouts. I love it. All right, I love hearing about your efforts and your work. But as always, work for quality. Have tons of fun with this workout, you guys. It's going to be a little gasser, but it's going to be a fun time. See you tomorrow for some more fun. We got a good week coming up our way. Bye, you guys.